Welcome to Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering from ELD's Time Vault Games. Here we have the finals of a Wednesday Night Legacy. Josh on Death Shadow versus Michael on Jeskai. Thoughtseize kicking things off, getting rid of a prismatic ending. Very efficient removal, something that Death Shadow does not want to see in the opposing hand. Swords to Plowshares, a bit more of a menace, but prismatic ending can very cleanly answer a Death Shadow. Not so much Murktide. Josh also has Dothy Weedwalker in his list, so very dense as far as threats go. Not a difficult thing to set a clock with this. Voidwalker kind of feels a little similar to Delver of Secrets in terms of an inevitable 3 damage a turn. However, it does have added disruption, making it a very powerful call in our meta. Cephalid Breakfast around. Days Undoing gets snagged by this Hymn to Torok. I'm seeing a little bit more play. Ooh, and a double Daze stopping Swords to Plowshares. To Fury, however, bounces the Death Shadow. Or Swords to Plowshares not only can handle the Death Shadow, but also reset that life total 13. Getting rid of any number of Death Shadows that are on board. All become 0/0s. Teferi, another one coming down and bouncing him again. So these Teferis, in the worst case scenario, they have come down, bounced the Death Shadow, and drawn a card. Michael a chance to draw towards something like Supreme Verdict here. Facing down Murktide and a Death Shadow. Swords to Plowshares would be catastrophic. Shrinking the Death Shadow to a 1/1, so it could be slightly worse. Just one more point of life on Josh's side. And Swords to Plowshares would actually be a 1-mana Wrath of God. Murktide, such an efficient threat. There's Dothy, everything turns sideways. And we've got a fetch to pump up the Death Shadow for lethal. Michael on the back foot the whole way there. Saw that. Swords to Plowshares earlier. Different art. Nielsen. Card that's been around since Alpha, so lots of incredible art on that one. Foglio art here. Jeff Menges, of course, the original. Let me know which Swords to Plowshares art you prefer or favorites. Personally, I love a lot of the Swords arts, and I like the fact that there's options for different decks. Or my decision on which swords to play. On this Jeskai list, would prefer that these fast effects go about 25 minutes each. Definitely a deck that wants to drag people into the pool and drown them. Minor misstep, brushing aside that Thoughtseize. That's a card that is just so strong. Not a problem like, say, Mental Misstep was. Strong card nonetheless. Goldex, very happy to utilize it. And a Brainstorm in response to Torok. A classic reply. Putting the best stuff on top of the library, but it's still harmful. Be losing on this 2-for-1. Oh, and again, Days Undoing. Sniped. Not even sure if Michael runs more than one copy of that card. If he does, I believe it would be at most 2 copies. Force of Will stopping the Fury. That may in fact be the right play. does, however, have a Dothy on board, which could eventually clear that Teferi. Josh was considering whether or not he might want to ask the Teferi himself, value that more highly than this Dothy. Every card that goes into exile underneath this Dothy, a little bit of a temptation. Ooh, Narset, it's a good rip there. Yeah, that Hymn to Torok, really kind of free to roam in the format at this point. Veil of Summer, not a card that you're seeing very much at this point. Was previously main decked in a lot of cards, even Storm lists. Some of them were actually running the 4 Veil of Summer main, which is just horrific. Trying to resolve a card like Hymn to Torok. Very good in the mirrors as well. Tendril's a unplayable card for a full turn cycle. Dothy does clear that Narset. She replaced herself. Does. I didn't actually catch what Michael off of her. I believe it was the prismatic ending. Ooh, another hymn. Cards really, really hammer Michael's hand down to 0 cards. Force of Will stops this prismatic ending. He knows what the next card's going to be. Did put it there off of the Storm. Wow, actually cashing out Dothy to get a Narset, which finds a Ponder. Now the Murktide. Narset of his own. A little bit of a decision here. Josh can close this out in 2 turns, or he can kill the Narset on his turn. During Michael doesn't have that extra card. Pyroblast. Oh no. Just the Tundra open. No red mana here. That would have been a great time to fire off that Pyroblast. Instead, Narset gets cleared. Storm sees another Murktide along with a Daze and some other good stuff. Oh, wow. Thoughtseize. How good has the discard been this game? Takes that Red Blast out of hand before it has any chance, Pyroblast, I should say, before it has any chance to impact the board versus 3 blue permanents. Man, that discard absolutely MVP there for Josh. Big win versus a very talented player right there in the finals. Congrats, Josh. Thank you for watching. For more magic from ELD's Time Vault games, be sure to subscribe and check out more videos just for you over here.